The Guantanamo Public Memory Project is a broad effort to raise public awareness and open new dialogue about the longer history of the U.S. naval base at Guantanamo Bay from 1898 through the present, and questions about its future, the future of its people, the policies it shapes, and the site itself. This was a tiny place that was the center of much bigger issues and a whole array of different issues, from how we have thought about immigration to how we've thought about public health to, in much more fundamental ways, how we think about what's sort of allowed or required in a democracy. It's a total global story and a global site, and it should be a global conversation. We began by just bringing together a real diverse array of people who had all different kinds of experience and also all different kinds of stakes in what it would mean to, quote unquote, remember Guantanamo. Why should we remember it? What should we remember about it, and what for? These were kind of the key questions that we asked.
I think we are already and will continue to see this as one of the more important human rights issues of this time.
I provided a perspective in terms of how the story should be told.
My work on the project was to share my experience of being in Guantanamo with a class from New York University, to have an understanding of the base and an understanding of the culture of the base.
We worked with universities across the country. Each of them simultaneously taught a course that included the history of Guantanamo and theories and methodologies about confronting contested histories and building public memories of contested histories. The final project of that course was for students to each create a piece of a traveling exhibit about the history of Guantanamo.
The Guantanamo Public Memory Project sent us a large packet of resources. Hundreds of photos, newspaper articles, journal articles, both secondary and primary sources that we then compiled into our short narrative about the history of Guantanamo that conveyed the themes we were interested in. One of the best things for us being students was that this is a history that hasn't often been told and that most of us had never encountered before joining the project. And so we were really, really excited to have the chance to just kind of tell our own history without a template to tell the history from. We had about 5 different narratives that we wanted to tell, and we had to select the one that we thought was going to be most compelling and work the best as part of the Public Memory Project. After we completed our panel, we met with other students who had worked on similar panels at a huge conference in New York City. It was really interesting to meet the other students and talk about some of our common experiences, but also the ways that our experiences differed in writing about this. Some had more personal connections to the histories they were telling, and as you can see in the exhibit, the panels are quite different in the types of histories that they're telling.
It's really important for people to know sort of the struggles, the triumphs that people face to come over here just to search for liberty, just to search for some level of equality and human dignity.
I think the project will really expose a need to do some real soul searching by the U.S. government.
We have an obligation for future leaders to understand the complexities of what we have done currently and in the past, so they may not make the same mistakes in similar situations, although nothing will be equivalent to Guantanamo ever. But I think there'll be other situations in the future that projects like this will help inform future leaders about what to do and what not to do.
The project is taking the initiative to record these stories is in itself a success, to be able to engage not only the people that lived in Guantanamo, but also the public understanding of Guantanamo.
this was a sort of invitation for what would necessarily need to be a kind of popular and grassroots and sort of broader effort to just ask, to be able to look back at what had happened at this place and ask, what it meant for us today and what should happen moving forward and how a broader public could be involved in that conversation and in shaping the next steps there.
I guess it explores a wide range of things, but for me it was more about the conversation.